Hello, and welcome to another Love Out Loud from First Baptist Church in Jacksonville. My name is Caleb, and today is not long after Easter, and he lives. I know that might seem like an easy path to take for an Easter week message, but I'll be honest, I really wasn't sure what to share with you all for the program this week. Then I looked at the schedule and realized it would be Easter week, and I was even more unsure. Then I had a moment where I felt God speak to me and give me peace about it. If you check our church's Facebook page, we've posted a few calls for help and opinions lately. One of them was taking requests for our praise team to build the music schedule for the next few months and asking for favorite hymns and worship songs. While there are praise songs that I do enjoy, I was raised on older hymns, and so that's my comfort zone. So before service this past Palm Sunday, I was reaching into my memory and going through the hymn book and trying to find things that I felt like we hadn't done in a while to fill out a copy of the song requests that was in our weekly program. As I was doing that, one hymn really jumped out at me. And as soon as I saw the title, I recalled the words and I felt God's comfort about it. The hymn is Because He Lives. I don't know about you, but try as I might, I can't help but notice and therefore sometimes get discouraged about all that's going on in the world right now. Violence and wars, and in my opinion, taking God's name in vain by weaponizing Jesus, God, and the Bible for various actions, agendas, and deflections. It can be sad, frustrating, and stressful. I remind myself every day that God is still a comfort, a balm against those who claim to know His will but don't really reflect His teachings. Some days it's easier to remind myself than others, and some days are a lot harder than others. Then, when I sat thinking about this song, something really clicked within me and helped settle the anxieties that I'd been feeling. And this Easter Sunday, or this Easter week, I suggest trying to set every worry aside for the moment. Remind yourself of the great blessing and the great truth that Jesus lives and is with us from day to day. If it helps, here's a brief recap of some of the words from this classic hymn. God sent His Son, they called Him Jesus. He came to love, heal, and forgive. He lived and died to buy my pardon. An empty grave is there to prove my Savior lives. And then one day I'll cross the river. I'll fight life's final war with pain. And then as death gives way to victory, I'll see the lights of glory and I'll know He lives. Because He lives, I can face tomorrow. Because He lives, all fear is gone. Because I know He holds the future and life is worth the living just because He lives. Jesus is alive. Sometimes things may seem hard, sometimes they are very, very difficult. Even with all the worry I've had at times in my life, I can't imagine how distraught, confused, and adrift Jesus' followers and the disciples felt after the crucifixion. I mean, we can have some idea because the Bible gives us clues to that, but to really know and feel it is something else. But what we can know and feel is the great relief at knowing and accepting that Jesus lives, that He rose, that His death was not only for a purpose, but that He did it for our sake and then defeated death and rose again. All for us, for our sake, that we would know Him and be saved. That can be an amazing comfort. Yes, it can still be possible to fall into dark times and doubt. We see that from beginning to end in the Bible. Kicked out of Eden, prophets despairing, songs and psalms of feeling left out, the disciples adrift after the crucifixion, people losing their way in the early churches. But every time we see those moments of sadness, the Bible follows it with moments of testimony of how God is there for us. So this week, I implore you, remember not just for Easter, but every day, day in, day out, year in, year out, Jesus lives. He lives for us. He lives for me. He lives for you. No matter what happens to us in or around us, an empty grave is there to prove our Savior lives. Life is worth the living because He lives. I challenge you to please remember that. And if you would like to hear more about God's love for you and His great truth, please feel free to come visit us at First Baptist Church on Mound Avenue in Jacksonville, Illinois. You can also see streams of our regular services every Sunday on our Facebook page, as well as recordings of these devotions every week. In the meantime, have peace, love on, remember that He lives. Thank you for listening, and God bless.